These are the 5 shows that everyone hates, or at least most people hate, but I don't. So I don't really love any of these shows. I don't usually go out of my way to watch them. Not even some of my favorites. In some cases it's not even close, but number 1 is debatable, and you'll see why. These are shows that I feel maybe don't get the credit they deserve, or are kind of underappreciated, or in the case of number 5, get a lot of hate that I really don't feel they deserve. So here we go. Number 5, Uncle Grandpa. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to defend this show. Boy, we're off to a good start already. Alright, this show gets an excessive amount of hate, and at first I can kind of see why, because it is a bit of a weird show. I mean, the title itself is completely strange, but have any of you actually watched it? It's kind of interesting. The show is very fascinatingly surreal. It's got this look and this style and this way the animation moves, and it's very interesting to watch. Also, it has kind of a heart to it, because Uncle Grandpa's a character who helps kids out with their problems. So where's all the hate coming from? In the first episode, there was a kid who didn't like the fact that he was fat, and through Uncle Grandpa's weird series of events, he taught him that it's not so bad. You can be comfortable with who you are. There was an episode with a girl who was afraid of the dark, and Uncle Grandpa helped her through that. I mean, am I missing something here? This show gets the same amount of hate that Teen Titans Go gets. Really? Teen Titans Go made a mockery of something people really loved. Uncle Grandpa was at least creative. And unlike Teen Titans Go, I think this show has a place in the world. It's not for everybody, obviously. Like I said, I don't go out of my way to watch it, but I just don't understand where all the hate came from. Oh, and anybody who complained about the crossover with Steven Universe, shut up, that was hilarious. Anyway, moving along, number 4 is a tie between The Cleveland Show and American Dad. Yeah, 2 Seth MacFarlane shows, because in my last list I mentioned that I did not like Family Guy, and I feel that where Family Guy has failed miserably, American Dad and The Cleveland Show succeeded. American Dad originally started out as the show that was just making fun of Republicans. It's like, they're Republicans, LOL. But over the years, it's evolved into this bizarre, fascinating, pretty hilarious, completely different show than what it originally was. I mean, the conservative humor is still there, but there are so many bizarre things about this show that I can't help but kind of love it, because strange things would happen. Like, there was an episode where they were fighting this possessed hot tub, and there was an episode about the rapture that was awesome, and the Christmas episodes were funny. Just a lot of little things about the series, too, have really kept me interested in it. And then there's The Cleveland Show, which, of all the Seth MacFarlane shows, have the best family dynamic. A lot of these animated family shows, they're supposed to, you know, work together and work well off each other and persevere through problems, and they do that. I really believe in them as a family. And that's kind of isn't that kind of the point of these shows originally? Like, The Simpsons kind of started it in the 80s and early 90s. It's a shame that The Cleveland Show got canceled, but I think that and American Dad are proof that Seth MacFarlane shows can work. Number 3, Total Drama Island. The first season. The show had gone on for a really long time, and it started to get repetitive, and things that were established in the first season were kind of undone. And then they ended up getting rid of Chris, which was a huge mistake. But I think that first season was very solid. It was very funny, it had great slapstick, it had characters that were very believable, and they felt very natural. I love the relationships they built, like with Duncan and Courtney. Really love them. Then there was Gwen and Trent. They were really great too. Too bad they ruined them in the following seasons. And just like with Drawn Together, there was toilet humor, but it was used very strategically, and it wasn't overly used. They didn't run any jokes into the ground, and nothing felt overly offensive. Also, I love Chris. I consider him the backbone of the series, which is why I didn't like it when they replaced him as the host. He's so much fun, and if he was a real person, I'd want him to host every reality show ever. So Total Drama Island, as far as I'm concerned, it never got better than Season 1. Number 2, Beware the Batman. I do not understand why people don't like this show. I mean, it's not the best Batman series ever, obviously. That easily goes to Batman the Animated Series. But this was a very solid take on Batman. I know it's very hard to adapt a character that we've seen so many times like Batman, but I thought this show did a really good job. They brought in all these different, unique characters that most people have never even heard of. I thought the CGI was fine. Maybe people complain about the CGI, but Green Lantern, the animated series, was done by the same company, I believe, and people loved that. A lot of the rare and obscure villains were kind of interesting and fun. I loved Magpie. I love that they used Katana instead of Robin. It has my favorite version of Alfred ever. Not to mention, it had a great storyline where the League of Assassins had a sword that can steal people's souls. That's awesome! They gave a nice new and unique spin on Batman, and as far as I'm concerned, this show is very underrated. So, number 1. Kind of interesting because of everything on this list, I would say this one is the least hated, but when it aired, it seemed to have the most vocal haters of any of these other shows. Number 1 is The Legend of Korra. So, I kinda can see where some of the hate came from because, first of all, this show was not supposed to go past Season 1, but it became so popular that they were forced to do 3 more seasons. And they weren't really prepared to do that, so things got a little messy. But as the series progressed, I think they did their best to mend a lot of the problems that they were having. I know Korra's character was a little bit rough around the edges at first, but through about halfway through Season 1, they made her a lot better, and she was pretty well consistent throughout the rest of the series. Not to mention, just the look of this series is amazing. I love the natural progression from the ancient-looking Avatar world to a now somewhat contemporary, like early turn of the 20th century look to the series, which felt very natural, and the art direction in the series was amazing. Not to mention, the show gave us a bisexual couple. I mean, how often had that happened before this show had aired? Although, for me personally, I think it overshadowed the real star couple of the series. You know, the ones who finally did the thing. I don't know if the hate for the show is finally blown over at this point. I'm sure there are still some out there, but as far as I'm concerned, the goods vastly outweigh the bads. Legend of Korra is awesome. So that's my 5 shows that most people hate, but I don't, or whatever you want to call it. So, it's really late. I'm going to go to bed now. So, leave a comment below and let me know what you think. My name is Rob, and have a wonderful day.